And where were you born?
You don't need my name?
Okay, I know your name.
My name, Sally Friedman, born May 3rd, 1913.
I have it, I know. Age?
Age, today I am 84.
84.
I will be 84 on May 3rd. We're only at the end of April.
Okay, you will be 84.
I will be 84.
Okay,
I'm
so
still
you're
83.
Okay. Good. Okay, and where were you born?
In New York City.
You were born in New York?
Yeah.
Do you know what hospital or where?
The hospital I can't relate to because I'm not sure.
Okay.
But shall I tell you what happened thereafter, or you're going to ask me a question first?
No, continue. Go.
Oh, due to my mother's ill health, my father took us out of New York City to Connecticut on a farm. Because while he lived in New York, he was visiting doctor after doctor, and at that time, the practice was a little bit more of surgery. And so my father got to a point of saturation, and he said, we're going on a farm. It seems that there, whether it was the atmosphere or whether the health is better there, I don't know.
This was all because of your mother's health?
Because of my mother's health, we moved there.
You moved to a farm?
We moved to a farm. And there she seemed to do better.
Okay. Now, okay, 1 second. Okay, brother and sisters.
All right. I had 3 brothers and 1 sister. Today, today I have 1 brother left and 1 sister.
Could you name?
Yes.
I just want you to name them as age, eldest to youngest.
Oh, as of age. My oldest brother was, middle was Phil, and then Sammy. The oldest was Simon.
Okay.
Simon, then
Lieberman, right?
Lieberman, Simon Lieberman.
L-I-E.
E-B-E-R-M-A-N. My middle brother was Phil Lieberman,
Okay.
and the youngest was Sam Lieberman. My oldest brother,
The son.
who's Simon and Phil, are both deceased.
Okay.
Can I compare my middle brother to my father, or that isn't necessary?
If you like.
Well,
Your middle brother meaning Phil?
my brother Phil was very much like my father.
Okay.
My father was a person to be admired. He had inborn ability, which is many years ago. There wasn't a thing he could not tackle. Of my 3 brothers, my brother Phil was the one who was most like my father. My mother, too, was a good person. However, she did not have that capability.
you say capability, you mean like your father?
Like my father. She came out of a family that did baking in Europe.
That's good. Okay. Just hold on 1 second. And what was my great grandmother's name?
Great grandma. That's my mother's.
Your mother, yeah.
Bessie.
And
B-E-S-S-I-E.
B-E.
Double S.
Okay.
I-E. My father's name was Morris.
So it would be Bessie Lieberman.
Yeah.
Lieberman. 1 second. And what did she do in Europe?
In Europe, she came out of a family that was in the bakery. They did their own baking. So my mother was capable in the kitchen.
What part of Europe?
My mother came from Vilna,
Vilna.
V-I-L-N-A,
That's in Russia.
Russia. Lithuania, I don't know, it changed, you know, down the years
Is it called
they
Vilna?
merged.
Is this
Vilna. Vilna,
It's part of the Ukraine?
no, they merged. In which way they merged? They may have merged with another place. My father came from Moscow. My father was in Russia. They didn't, where they met there, I don't know.
So they were born in Russia?
They're from there, yes.
Vilna, Russia. Okay. So your mother's family was in the baking industry?
Baking industry.
They own a business in Europe? Or do you know if they own a business?
That I'm not sure, but I think they were very capable in that field, yes. In those years, people didn't have, as we have today, advanced technology. They did everything in the home.
Oh, I learned a lot about this. And
You see,
the factory was very...
it wasn't. It was
beginning.
It was a beginning. Even when I lived on the farm, we had a black stove, all black. At the end of the stove, there was a vessel, I'd call it, where water. You'd pour the water in. It got hot.
How'd you heat it? Like, I mean, how...
From the stove, the vessel got hot. Now, everybody couldn't take... We were a family of 5 children.
Mm-hmm.
So we couldn't take baths at the same time because it took time to heat it. So we had...
You mean water?
To heat the water. We didn't have a regular bathtub. We had a galvanized tub. What do you call it? You know, a round galvanized tub, I call it. I would call it like you'd say today, a tub.
What do you mean when you heated the water? Did you have to...
You had
heat it
to
first and then pour it in the tub?
Then pour it in the tub. It was at the end of the stove. So you took, say, a big pot and you poured it into the vessel.
And then you took cold water to make it...
If it was too hot, you took the cold water from a pump. We didn't have water in the house. A well, you brought it from the well to the house in pails. It was very, very... I was brought up in a very... how will I say? I still can remember those days. It wasn't an easy life. People washed their clothes at the lake. We had a lake. You didn't have a place to wash clothes in the house. If you had to, you wanted to boil it, when you had things that had to be boiled, it was on that big black stove. Then to rinse it.
When you say boil, you mean boil clothes?
Yeah, when they're babies, and you didn't have diaper service like today. You had to take care of babies' clothes, diapers. So if they wanted to put it through some heat, it had to be put on that big black thing. Then this was taken to the well and rinsed. We also had, am I talking too fast?
Yeah, okay.
We also had a
Where did-
lake
where
on
did
the
you take to well to
premises.
rinse? After you boiled it, you rinsed
After
it?
you boiled it, you put it in that big vessel and you rinsed it. Or if it was a lot, we had a
So-
lake.
The vessel was detachable, you're saying?
Yeah, it was
What do you-
like
what do
a
you mean by
pot.
vessel? Oh, it was like a big pot.
Like a big pot. We would refer to it as a pot.
A pot.
Yeah. Now, you weren't going to
So-
carry the water from the well to the house and put it there, so you took the clothes to the well. Can I answer?
Yeah, go ahead.
You took the well and
Aunt Faye.
Aunt Faye.
Okay. F-A-Y-E.
F-A-Y-E, it's fine.
And she is, you are the younger? Are you the
I'm the older. She is 3 years younger than I.
So you're the youngest?
Come in.
You're the oldest?
I'm older.
Hey!
All right, just be careful.
Hello.
I'm being interviewed.
You're okay?
Well,
Good, how you doing? Oh, are we allowed to?
Hey, Sara.
Yeah, you'll sit down over there for a while.
Hi, Grandma.
Hello, doll.
Oh, I'm sorry. You guys don't know.
You don't mind, you'll sit down over there. Children,
but who are you proud of? I didn't get that one.
I'm very proud of all of my grandchildren.
Uh-huh.
2 were here before, Evan and Aric. And now Shari walked in with Adam. And who else came in?
Elisa.
Oh, and Elisa came. I don't mean to forget anybody, but the mind doesn't work as quickly as I'd like it to. So that's it for now. All right, we will continue.
Okay.
You can come in, Chuck.
Oh, really?
If I have
It's not
a special birthday, I'll have everybody come. We'll even have Aunt Lynn come, and we'll go in a restaurant, and we'll sit around. Yeah,
Oh,
because here I won't be able to. We have to wait another year.
What?
Special birthday. I can't live forever, but I
You can
hope to
have
live
some.
for another year.
No, at least
And
at least
then
100.
Elisa,
Lisa, you can come in.
Elisa, I'll ask you.
Tell that your family.
Hey,
I'm very proud of you, Elisa.
what are you proud of me for?
Of all of you,
Went to
not
bed
only
all by
you.
yourself.
You weren't here when she said she was proud of you.
I'm very proud. Thank God I live to have such grandchildren. And if I live another year, then we'll all have fun in a restaurant where we can spread out. And we'll even get, when it'll be good for Aunt Lynn to come. And I hope that Ryan and Allie and Matt, everybody can help us along. And we'll have, we have Aric and Evan here. And we have Elisa and Shari and Adam. And Elisa, you'll all be able to bring a friend. And I hope I live to dance at somebody's wedding.
Somebody's been married.
I have to live
You're
for
the
that.
oldest.
I have to live for somebody to give me that joy. I'm not pushing anybody in particular. Okay? I'm not pushing.
Looking right over here.
I'm cross-eyed a little bit. But I gotta live to see one of them, right? You can't live forever. Your Aunt Lynn gives me high hopes that people today live long and people today are very intelligent. So I said, look, I only hope one thing. I don't have memory loss where you don't recognize anybody. That would be the worst punishment. But God forbid, if it happens, you'll have to understand.
But that won't happen.
Don't worry, Grandma. It won't happen. So tell us about your husband's parents. Where are they from?
Hungary.
Really?
Yeah.
I just met somebody from Hungary the other night, and she recognized me as looking Hungarian.
Oh, that you look Hungarian. See, so you have a little bit of my husband's
So
blood.
they were all Hungarian?
Hungarian. Oh, I better not say it. They taught me a saying
Good,
that
say it.
somebody. Oh, I don't know. No
come
way.
on, say it.
Oh no.
Come on, you only live once. You gotta say
I
it.
said, now I understand it. That's the only thing they taught me, and somebody
What does it mean?
said I shouldn't say it. It isn't
You
nice.
have to say
That's
it.
okay.
I said it already. It's all said. I don't know. But they told me it isn't nice to say it.
What, do you know what part of Hungary? Was it Budapest or was it?
That I have to get a little.
Uh-huh.
That I
Oh,
can't
you
tell
get the
you.
brain working a little bit.
The brain has to work a little
Lubricate the
better.
brain a little bit later, maybe
The-
with
the
some water
brain.
or something.
I can still remember my mother-in-law. You want to know about her too?
Yeah, sure.
All right, my mother-in-law, she was an intelligent woman, but she protected her head. She had a bandana on. And her mother, my mother-in-law's mother, may they both rest in
That's our
peace.
great-great-grandmother.
Yeah, she used to sit downstairs in front of a synagogue. See how I remember these things? I can even visualize them, which is actually wonderful. I wouldn't want to forget them. It's good to be able to really think of them, because that's out of sheer respect for my husband, may he rest in peace.
And that was Grandma Rose, right?
That was Grandma Rose, yeah.
Were they gypsies?
I do too.
There were a lot of Hungarian
She wore that
gypsies.
thing.
No, well, maybe they rode around. The great-great-grandma she led a hard life. She used to cook. I told you, those years you didn't have restaurants and things, so she used to cook for people, and they'd come to her home to eat. She was a very hard-working, not Grandma Rose.
Great-grandma Rose
Great-
was your mother-in-law?
Yes, my husband's mother. And her husband was David.
Do you remember where she used to live?
Yes,
Like-
on Lewis Street. That I remember too. We lived in New York City. They lived on Lewis Street.
And when she got older, though, when I used to go and visit her, where did she live?
When you went to, she may have still been
In
there
the
near the,
90s?
yeah, wasn't that near the waterfront when
I don't know, I was really young.
oh, you were too young, when the Jewish people go to throw their sins away. So we used to go to the waterfront there.
So that's
See?
in Manhattan?
Oh, sure, Lewis Street.
That's downtown? Like,
Downtown Manhattan.
like by Delancey?
Yeah, from Delancey, it's further down, and there's a waterfront there, where people used to come, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, what's the other? I can't remember all the but there's a certain holiday that you threw your sins away.
Yom Kippur.
We used to go to that waterfront. I had a lot of respect for my in-laws when they were alive. I even kept a kosher home. By that I mean even dishes were separate. To the best of my ability, I kept
Take that kosher?
yeah. So to the best of my ability, I respected them. Once they're gone, my home is Jewish, which I'm proud to be, but it is not kosher. We all must be proud to be a Jew. Otherwise, Judaism will die away too soon. We mustn't let that happen.
Okay, so are you the eldest sister? Grandma?
Of the two girls,
Yeah.
yes, I'm
Yes.
3 years older than my sister.
Okay.
Okay.
She was born in July, so I think it's about 3 years different. Maybe 3 years and 2 months, but approximately 3 years. I never hid my age. Even when I went to business, I remember once my boss sent them out to bring in a big cake. He wouldn't have liquor in the showroom, but he had soda. He said, "Everybody stop. We're all going in to sing happy birthday." That's how much he thought of me. So,
Okay.
that's a good memory to have too.
Okay. What were your parents' occupation?
What were my parents' what?
Occupation.
Occupation. Let me see. I told you my father moved to a farm.
How old were you when you moved to a farm?
I was young. I told you they took me there because my mother was obsessed with the doctors. She was in and out of the doctor's office, and my father said enough of that. So we moved out to the farm.
To a farm. So he was a farmer.
As a farmer. Oh, and he also worked. My father was a tailor, a very fine tailor. In that same town, there was where people used to work. And when I remember when I went to school, we used to get a piece of candy for a penny. Those are the days. Don't forget, I'm an older lady. And my sister, we had to go home. We had to walk 3 miles. My sister wouldn't pass. We had to pass a cemetery. She was very much afraid. I never feared anything. I still live by what Kennedy said. The only thing to fear is fear itself. Yeah. I live alone now, too. I have no fear.
Okay. So your father was a tailor.
A tailor, and then he became the farmer.
Okay.
Because he took my mother away from the doctors. We couldn't take the doctors so much.
Why was she always with the doctors?
Well, she was obsessed with them. And, you know, those years, if you had something wrong, everything was surgery. Today, it isn't that way. It's completely different. People don't think that way today.
And your mother?
But what about her? She was, I told you, a very nice person, but she came out of a family that was in the bakery.
What was her name?
Bessie.
Bessie.
And your father?
Morris. Oh, I can never forget their names, I guess. That will always remain with me.
I might have written it already. I just want to make sure it's in the paragraph. So how,
And me, I'm thankful to God to be the way I am. I've had my little innuendos. How do you say that word? That I forgot how to say it right. Where I've given others a little problem, but I snapped out of it. And thank God now that I have, out of the 5, I have Lynn in California, and I have Joel here. Thank God for those 2. And Joel, he would be calling, but he could be at a business meeting, so he can't pick up the phone just when it's good for me.
and what was farming like?
What was farming like? Oh, it wasn't like today. We worked on the farm. Today, everything is machinery. You don't work. In those years, that's one thing I didn't do. Did you ever see them milk a cow? They have machinery that they attach for the cow. See, my sister milked the cow. That's one thing I did not do. That I remember to this day. Why? That was my fallacy. I didn't want to.
Okay. What was the women's roles on the farm? Like,
Cook and bake and clean. And if you didn't eat 3 times a day, you thought you're going to die. We used to eat a lot. We ate like horses.
so how many times a day do you eat?
Who remembers? I ate. I worked and I ate.
But you were always skinny, right, Grandma?
Well, now I'm careful to maintain my. I don't want to be heavy. I don't want to be heavy. Why do I need the weight?
What was your job on the farm?
I'm telling you, in the kitchen. I
So
wouldn't.
You cooked?
I helped prepare. My mother, as sick a woman as she was, I told you, she baked and she cooked and prepared food because the farmers, the boys had to go out and work on the farm, and it was hard work. It isn't like today, everything is machinery. It was very difficult. But when you had to do it, somehow God gives you the strength. I always say, I don't know, I never wanted to be on relief, and for 10 years, I had a family of 4 children to take care of. So I worked 7 days a week. I don't know, today I wonder how did I do it? But you see, God is good. When you have to do something, you'll do it. And I did it when I had to. Oh, thank God for that. All right, I'm heartbroken of my losses. I miss, comes a holiday. I miss both your fathers. Because we used to have big to-dos. So I miss them. They were my sons. But I have to live with it. And I don't talk about it. But I have to live with it. But it's not easy. They were such gentlemen. How didn't he become a doctor on his own? Didn't he? He had no father to, because I lost my husband when I was married 23 years, and I didn't want to have anybody boss my children around. So I worked, but I had the strength to work. And then he worked. Marty worked to become a doctor. And it wasn't easy because no one gave him. I said to him, do it. Never fall down on your job. But we can't question God. He helped hundreds of people. Hundreds of people came to his funeral, and they missed him. Me, they locked up in a room somewhere.
Grandma. Maybe we should cut.
Thank God that I have such grandchildren like you. You see, they must be praying. Your father, their father must be praying. So gave me such wonderful grandchildren, and I have to accept it. I don't say anything to anybody. People cry when a raindrop because they don't know what a shower is. They get a raindrop and they think it's terrible, but they don't know what a shower, because you don't want to have to replace a husband, but truthfully, a man can be replaced. A child can never be replaced. A child is part of you. You lose a child, you're finished. I had a very good husband. I didn't want to replace him. He was very good. I had him for 23 years, and we were like 2 lovebirds, but I learned not to question why, because when he went, I said to the Rabbi, you see people that fight and curse? I said, we lived such a nice life. We had difference of opinion. We were normal, but never fought in front of the children. Children were taught to be respectful. Why did you take him? He said, my dear, we cannot question God. What he gives, that's what you take. So, I'm taking it. I'm sorry, I'm being a pain in the neck and shedding tears, but I'm normal.
That's not
I'm
being
normal.
a pain in the neck, Grandma. That is normal.
I
It's
mean,
okay to cry.
normal, I miss them. Comes a holiday, I miss them. I miss my husband. I miss Marty. I miss Eugene. I miss everybody. I'm thankful that I have you children. I call you children. You're adults, but I refer to you as children. I respect
Apparently.
you. Thank God.
Evan, do we have any more questions?
A lot.
Okay, so
We're finished.
moving.
No.
Grandma.
You want to take a break?
You want to take a break, Grandma? for a little?
No, I don't have to take a break. I'm all right.
She's
Want
not a
some
spoiled
water?
actress.
No. No.
Give her time with the trailer.
Trailer.
We need to fix the makeup, powder up.
No.
The next scene?
I use lipstick. I'm okay.
Act 2.
Act 2. Right, you have to be painted and powdered to show, the old women, we put on the paint and the powder to cover up. I am what I am. I'm wrinkled,
You're
so I'm
beautiful,
old.
Grandma.
So what? It's what's in your heart is what counts. Not on the outside. People put up a big show and they talk and aye, they know. But they have no heart, they have no feelings. I'll always love you, children.
We're gonna always love you too.
I thank God that I have you.
Grandma, you want a drink?
Thank you.
Or what?
No, I'm fine. Thank you.
Chocolate?
You know that's my weakness,
I know
right?
it is. That's why I said it.
No, thank you. I don't want anything. I have some, if you people want some sour balls here. Or whatever you want in the refrigerator, you're welcome to have.
Okay. Well, Grandma,
Yeah.
what type of work did the men do on the farm?
What type of work is what?
Did the men do on the farm? Uncle Phil.
They planted gardens. We grew our own fruits, and we didn't grow fruits, no. We had fruit trees, but we grew our own vegetables because that was the type of food you had. You didn't
So
go
you-
out to buy.
So you didn't go to the
And eggs
supermarket?
you had, no. You had chicken that laid the eggs, so you had eggs. Sometimes you sold them, and my mother, may she rest in peace, she was so obsessed. If she had to give us an egg, she had to go to the chicken coop. It had to be that day old. That's the way she felt about it.
So you live subsistently then? I mean, subsistence farming, basically. You ate off your own land?
You
Took
eat
everything from your land.
most everything. You have cows that give you the milk.
What about meat? Did you
Meat, no, that's one thing. You have a rabbi in the town. He takes care of the chickens. He takes care of the meat, and that's something we do not produce on our area. No, you did not produce that. Fruits and vegetables was on your area.
I mean, took care of the meat. You mean for kosher purposes?
Yeah, for any purpose. I mean, we wouldn't kill it regardless of color, creed, what else. We must respect each other as a mensch. The word is M-E-N-S-H, mensch.
Get that down.
S-C-H, I think it is.
Yes.
M-E-N-S-C-H. That's the thing that counts seated.
I was going to tell Aric he had to cover on his camera, but
No,
no,
I-
just on his own.
No, I had a white balance because I had to put in a battery and they threw all the readings off.
Couldn't read camera.
What part of Connecticut was this?
Near Hartford. It was a little town. Colchester. The next town was Moodus.
Did you have a car?
My brother Cy had
Yeah.
the first what was the first Ford?
Model T?
Model T. That's a car. The first one was Model T. My brother Cy drove it, and he was a very selfish person. He said only he should drive it. I never drove a car, no, which I regret.
And what year was that? Matthew?
When it first came out, right at the beginning.
22?
No, earlier, I think.
Model T was invented in 1919. exactly when.
I really don't know the exact date. That I can't tell you. I don't remember.
First Colorado.
Oh, California.
No, that was for the bar mitzvah. No, isn't those pictures for the bar mitzvah?
Richie didn't go to a bar mitzvah.
Richie did. Where's bar mitzvah?
I didn't go.
That isn't it all that
Wait, you said Connecticut near Hartford?
Oh, yeah.
It was a town between Hartford and London and Norwich. Those were the big cities. We were a little town, Colchester.
London?
New London, and Norwich, Norwich. And we were a little town in between. We were Colchester. The neighboring town, huh?
I went to school in Norwich,
Oh, yeah?
for my college, with Norwich University.
What was your
Oh,
town?
that was,
right, that's
that's a
Vermont.
different Vermont.
No, but it was Norwich University from Connecticut, but
Oh.
I went to Vermont. Never mind.
Okay.
What was your town called?
Our town?
Yeah.
Colchester.
Colchester.
Colchester. He. And where did I graduate from? I'm going to boast about myself soon. I might as well.
We were
Yeah,
I
might as well. I'm going all out. We had spelling bees. I think I once listened to Aric in the car, and I said the spelling is much more difficult. We had it from all the neighboring little towns. We had a lot of little towns. So I was chosen. So I went for the state of Connecticut. I was third on spelling bee.
Wow.
Yes. I might as well. I mean, you asked me all the questions. It's all coming back to me.
Spell Episcopalian.
No, that I don't. See that? I remember I can visualize the library we used to have. I can visualize some of the
You
relatives
came in third in, what was
for
it?
the state of Connecticut in the spelling bee.
Do you remember the year?
The year?
Do you have the award?
Some awards I do have. And at one time when I was capable, I even wrote a paper. Should be in your houses somewhere.
Yeah, I have it.
Somewhere. And I spoke to Marcia today, too.
You spoke to Marcia today?
Yeah. She called to wish me a happy Passover, which I was thankful for. And I wished her the same.
That was good.
Yes. You know, as we get older and we listen, I don't know if it's age or whatever it is, whether we become wiser. You must never hold grudge. You must forgive and forget, because none of us are perfect. If we're going to just reminisce about the negative part of a person, it's no good. We got to think of the positive parts too, because people have positives about themselves too.
Okay. What was your upbringing like?
In what respect? My upbringing was good. My mother gave us the best, did the best she could, and my father too. When we went to school, first I went to what you called a Little Red Schoolhouse. In this schoolhouse, there were 5 or 6 rows. First grade was 1 row, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade. Now, when I advanced to the third grade, I was so smart that I took a first grader and went out in front of the school. We couldn't all talk at one time there. We weren't gypsies. So I went in front of the school to teach. When I had finished the 5th grade, then I had to go to the town, to go to another school. There I finished until high school, and then I went to what they called Bacon Academy, which I did very well. For those years, I did very well.
Okay, so the Little Red Schoolhouse, that went to 6th grade?
It went 5 grades. The 6th grade, you had to go into the town already.
Okay, so sixth grade, what is, that became high school?
No, regular school from 6 to 8 is regular. 9, 10, 11, 12 was high school. And I didn't have a college education. We didn't go to college in those years. I'm not a college graduate. I mean, you know much more than me. You went to college, you had a better education. But I hold my own.
But how did they teach when you went to elementary?
Well, I'm saying in that little schoolhouse, when I was in the 3rd grade, teacher can't teach 5 grades at one time, so I took a first grader and went outside and sat down on the steps and taught the first grader.
You were the teacher?
Yeah, well, I was a 3rd grader already. I'm so smart. At least they thought I was. In those years, they didn't know.
I bet you were.
They didn't know. They said I was smart enough to teach. So I said, all right, I'll go teach.
What, like math and social studies? On
Well, that's advanced. Even, Hebrew, we didn't have like you have today, Hebrew schools. You had a rabbi used to come to the house. Well, that's a joke. I'm sure I told everybody. The joke of the rabbi came in. The woman had the candles lit on a Thursday when it should have been Friday. She made the mistake, and he said to her, why are the candles? And she said, what are you doing here? He says, it's Thursday, in Jewish. So that's how that happened. We learned a lot through our mistakes. Once, if you fall, you got to get up and keep going. Well, that I remember too. That was right after my husband Manny, may he rest in peace. And I went out and we had a snowfall. And I fell on the corner and I felt someone pick me up. And I turned around, it was a mailman. And that's what he was doing, I looked and I sort of jumped back. It was right after he passed away. So I said, gee, it struck me. A mailman picked me up. So, you see, all these things are coming back to me now.
Okay. And from 6th to 8th grade, Grandma?
That was in the town. They had to go to,
Was it separate classes then?
yes, individual classes.
Classes. And high school?
High school was
Individual?
individual classes.
And what high school? What was it called?
It was called Bacon Academy,
Bacon? B-A-C-O?
B-A-C-O-N.
Like Francis Bacon?
I'm sorry, I
Was
didn't
it
get.
named after Francis Bacon?
I don't know who. Truthfully, I don't know who they named
Because-
it. That I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, they call.
Yeah.
See, I don't know.
Okay, and in junior high school, 6th to 8, what was that called? What was the name of it?
It was just junior high.
Okay.
Like
There was
they-
no name of the school?
No, you had no special. We didn't have big, massive schools. In those days, you didn't have, like you have today, big families.
And what did you write with? Chalk? Did you,
Yes, chalk on a blackboard.
what
And then you
about
had a
chalkboard at your desk?
that you had, no,
Eraser?
eraser, that you erased the blackboard. Like,
about-
you come here
Did
and
you have
this,
pen and paper? Did you use pen and paper? When you were-
pen, I don't remember if we had pen even. Yeah, we must have had pen when we went to advanced classes. Like you go here, you have the Hasidish, who are very religious. Now they can walk, they look at me like I'm not a Jew. I'm maybe a better Jew than they are. They walk with, God bless them all, with 6 to 8 kids. Yeah, that's the
I
truth.
know.
They
I
all,
think they're nuts.
yeah, they are. I mean, if they can have a child every year, don't they give their stomach a rest?
I
even?
know. They're nuts.
So they have, one holds the other, and this is the truth too. I was coming up the hall years ago, and I saw one of these, little ones walking up. So I figured, gee, I'll hold his hand and help him go up. So the other one yelled at me, "Don't touch!" I said, "Don't touch." No. Poison. I was poison to them. I wasn't a Jew. But I'm a better Jew than they are. Who knows what they do?
Amen to that.
Yeah,
Amen.
that's for sure.
Was your elementary school, was it considered a yeshiva? Was it considered
No,
Jewish?
we
or
had,
mixed?
no, definitely not. We had no such thing as individual Hebrew schools. We had this rabbi that I told you came to the home. We had no Hebrew schools of any kind.
So was the school a mixture of Christians?
Yes,
and
a mixture of everybody, yes.
Did you do a prayer in the morning?
You know, they put up a fight that time too, I remember.
Really?
Somebody put up the fight that you shouldn't say the prayer one way or another, but I can't relate to you, so I don't want to add something that I'm not sure.
So do you
But-
remember ever saying a prayer in school?
That's what they put up a fight, that the real Jewish didn't want that we should say, that's what it must have been, that we should say the prayer with them. I see nothing wrong. We all, in God we trust. That's all. All right, I believe in mine. They can believe in theirs. They have a right to believe in theirs. If they tell me what to do, I would tell them one thing. I don't tell you what to do and how to worship, and you can't tell me what to do. You know the saying, Evan, you used to tell me, or no, Ryan used to say, they know immediately, they tell me, I stand on my own 2 feet. That's it. I think it's in California they tell me that. They tease me with that. Grandma, don't you remember what you used to say? I stand on my own 2 feet.
Okay, do you remember what religions you went to school with? I mean, was it Christian? Was it...
Every kind. I don't remember them enumerating if they were Protestant or Catholic. To me, it still doesn't make a difference.
Okay.
I won't go into a church to pray because I have a Jewish religion and that's what I believe. But I don't talk against them either. They can do what they think right, and I have to do what I think is right. And we all have to stick by our Judaism.
Where is it? Why don't I feel it like?
Okay.
Where is it?
What did you find important in your early life?
What was important? We were very obedient kids. You know, today, the only way I learned today, because of my eyesight, the glaucoma, the macula, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. I'm older. I have to expect these things. So I learned through listening. I either sit near the radio or I sit near the television and I learn. We were taught obedience. We did not disrespect our parents. Maybe you'll say it was giddy up, horsey you go, and ho you stop. I don't know. Whatever it was, there should be obedience. I don't care today or yesterday or any time. Everybody should have respect for the next person.
Was radio a way
We
to
had-
entertain? I mean, how old were you when the radio? I mean,
I can't even remember when it came. We didn't have time for radio we had. Television came in much later. Radio we had.
no, television wasn't until the 50s, mid-50s.
When did it come?
50s, 1950s.
Yeah, well, maybe we couldn't afford it. I don't remember. But radio we had. That I know.
But when did you move off the phone? I mean, how old were you when you moved off the phone?
When I got older and I felt I wanted to go, I had to go to another school. So I'd go into, as I told you, my father would work in the factory too. So I'd go in, he'd give us money for chocolate, to have my chocolate without nuts, and we'd eat that on the way home.
You didn't like nuts?
No.
When did your father work in the factory?
Well, that was his profession
Were you
in
older?
Europe. It was his profession in Europe, in the factory. And that's what he made his livelihood from. But he got disgusted. That's why he moved away from New York, because he didn't like my mother and with so many doctors. That's why he moved to Connecticut and took on the farming. And he was just as capable.
So
May he rest in peace. He was wonderful.
Did
There
he-
wasn't a thing he couldn't do.
after he became a farmer, did he just become a farmer and he didn't work in factories anymore? Or he
No,
worked-
he went to the town. Then you didn't
That sounds
have,
fast.
before the cars came, you had a horse and buggy. You went with a horse and wagon. And you know how we went to school? We'd have ice, and we'd sit on our hooses. To get down the hill, you couldn't walk down. We sat down on our...
You couldn't?
Oh, see, I'm trying to recall when were we permitted? I'm telling you, we were very obedient, and I don't remember when we were permitted. How did I meet my husband? I know. There was a thing with that, too. When I met my husband, there was a letter. I think you kids must have that letter, too. I had that letter that he wrote 60 years ago.
How old were you when you met him?
I was very young. But my in-laws didn't want him. He lived on the east side, and I lived in another area. And he used to come to see me. You wouldn't have anybody sleep over in those years. He went home, and then he'd come back. But my in-laws said that I didn't have enough money. They found a rich girl. They believed in getting women that could give dowries. So they found a rich girl. Now, I may have given you a copy, or I may not have, but I should have it. I never destroyed it. He wrote me a letter where he said with all the money they had, if I want to take him back, because he realizes that his mother told him that the other girl has money. So he decided that he didn't want her, he wanted me. And he said, if you don't want me, he could understand the way he left. So that letter I must have yet. I never destroyed it, because we were sweethearts all the time, right from the beginning to the end.
So you never went out with anybody else before him?
No, I wouldn't. My brothers used to scan who I went out with. Yeah, we did. When they come with a car, they tell them the car stand. I had to tell them, the car stands there, and we'd go with the subway to a movie. Yeah, that's the way we went.
So there were other boys?
Yeah, I wasn't hard to look at.
Grandma, you're gorgeous.
Yeah, we saw the pictures.
Yeah, you're beautiful.
Doesn't matter. I wasn't hard to look at. I could hold my own. Look, I was in the third grade when they told me teach a first grader. What did I know? But thank God for it all. That's why I get emotional. I couldn't help myself before. But I have to count my blessings that I'm blessed with a family like I am, like all of you. I'm really blessed. What would I do if I didn't have such grandchildren that are so thoughtful? I don't expect you to come and hold hands with me. You have your own lives to lead, and I like to see you go on with your lives and do what you think you should do. But at the same time, I'm blessed. Today is a day that I know that I'll remember always. I'll call Aunt Lynn and I'll tell her. She doesn't know how rich I felt today.
Well, she'll see. We'll send her the video.
Yeah, she has a videotape. Okay.
Look, it isn't always the big, beautiful home that you have. I may not have a big, beautiful home, but you can still walk in. You can still find a place to sit down.
Well, this is pretty big. I mean, compared to like most apartments in the city, you have to pay like $1,200 a month for.
This apartment in the city would be like $3,000.
Yeah.
At least.
At least, yeah, it's huge.
So, Grandma, did everybody call you Sara when you were younger?
Well, my Jewish name was Sara Gittel. That's what I was named after. Let's see, it was my father's mother or something. Sara Gittel was a Jewish name. But then when I called myself Sarah, somebody said, it's Sally, not Sarah. So I remained Sally. I was very, I listened. Sally, Sally.
So they called you Sally ever since you can remember?
Yeah, so I remained with that Sally. Even everything I do today is Sally.
Is that not your birth name? It's Sara?
A birth certificate has to have both, I imagine. Sara. I imagine. I'm not even...
It has Sally also?
I don't think so. I have I should have a copy, but for the moment I can't think, huh?
Yeah,
Can we see somebody we wanna know
what's
who
your
you are?
identification? Are you Sara or Sally?
I'm Sally. I always was, like I'm
No,
telling
but
you.
your legal name is Sara?
It's Sally. I'm
Sally.
telling you. My legal name is Sally.
Oh, and your
I've
Jewish
gone-
name is Sara.
I was born Sarah, of that. But I became Sally, and ever since, everything I've done is Sally. I sign everything with Sally.
Uh-huh.
Sally Friedman.
You said your father came from Moscow, right?
Yeah. What town? That for the minute I can't. Somewhere in Russia.
No. It's okay, I just Moscow's fine.
Small.
What else did you find important when you were younger? I mean, did you like to go out dancing? Or...
Dancing, only a school dance or something. You weren't... you see, the form of activity, you have to understand that I'm a woman born, you know how old I am. 83, going to be 84 pretty soon. In those years, you didn't have the activity that you have today. You weren't permitted to do these things.
What was the town like? That was it very rural? I mean,
Yes,
you
it
said-
was a small town. I can still visualize it. In fact, there's one, Sam Jaffe, I remember his name. He became a doctor. I can't say that I remember everybody's name, no. But he went on further. Now, what activity we had? Maybe we'd have once a week in the school. So we were taken there.
When you say in the school, what grades was this? Was this for junior high school?
Yeah, when you're in older classes, not the young classes, the older classes. You'd consider it junior high, I guess.
Okay, when you talk about the factory, there was a factory in Connecticut that your father...
Yes. There was a factory in the town, yes.
Okay, but it wasn't urban. I mean, it wasn't urbanized. It was just one. It was more or less one factory.
One factory, they didn't have a lot of
What did they make, you know? Remember?
that. I can't relate to you because I don't remember. I mean, I could guess, but I don't want to guess.
Why not? We're not going to go back and check.
No, well, look, they had to make something there.
Was it textiles?
People, it had to be look, people had to buy clothes. We had a store, we had to go in to buy. So they had, like I say, my father was a tailor, so he could sew. But people had to wear clothes, they had to have shoes, so maybe they had someplace else that made the shoes. After all these things, we didn't go barefoot. We had to have clothes, so somebody had to make it.
Did you have a shoemaker you went to?
Yes, that you had a shoemaker. Today you don't have such a thing like fixing shoes. Those years you had to fix shoes. They'd have a shoemaker in the town, yes.
Is that where you bought your shoes also?
No, you didn't buy shoes there. He only mended.
So where did you buy your shoes?
In a shoe store. They'd have a shoe store. They had to have a shoe store. They had to have a place for people to buy their clothes in the town.
And a clothing store they had also? Or was it like a general store?
They had general stores, or I don't remember just how they had it, but we had to buy our clothes, that I know. And today you don't go to a shoemaker. Those years they went to a shoemaker. They had shoes mended. You don't have like today you have a variety of shoes, so much. Those years you didn't have such a variety.
Okay, what else would you say was
Like I
important?
say, look, those years when I was young, I was able to wear the high heel, get dressed in fashion. Today I wear sneakers, and somebody reprimanded me the other day. They wouldn't be seen in that. I'm not ashamed.
Oh,
I can't walk in the high heels.
who said that to you?
Somebody said it. I don't want to imply her.
We don't know these
Causing
people.
waves.
Yeah, you know them.
We know them.
You know the person. I wouldn't say. She says I wouldn't.
Aunt Faye?
I don't want to answer.
Aunt Faye then.
So that's I wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. I do. I care.
Well, Aunt Faye's more vain than you are.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm honest. I'm not top cover. I told you. I'm what I am inside. True to the stuff. I don't have to show for somebody else. Why do I have to show off for somebody else? I got to be clean. That I got to be.
You want to go take a shower?
No. My showers in the morning, that I also changed. Years ago, I told you how we bathed. We didn't have showers. We all had to get into a round vessel of some kind. So,
Bathtub?
no, we had no bathtubs in those. All the way back, I'm referring to. All the way back. When we were children. Yeah. Sometimes I wonder how we were able to do what we did. Well, when necessity calls for it, you get the strength, you get everything. And you do it, that's all.
Grandma, do you want a drink or anything?
No thanks. As Aunt Lynn told me of women what they accomplish, all right, they were clinical psychologists. They're up in the years, so they still do a part of their practice. Look, they're trained. I'm not trained that way. I can't do that. But I would be helpful if I never drove a car, which also was a mistake. But my coordination in the eyes weren't
We'll
good.
teach you today.
Yes, I didn't
Car
do.
help?
Adam's truck.
Yeah. Well, they had that. They have all that on. I listen to all of that, and I like to listen and to learn. I feel I get knowledge that way, but I can't practice it. So, you do the best you can, and that's it. Some people function good all day. My best time is the morning. The morning, I make my bed. I mean, what I think, I make my breakfast. When this woman comes, she doesn't have, I don't pull the vacuum, she takes the vacuum. But I can do, I do
You do everything you can do.
everything I can do, I take care of.
That's great.
You still do your exercises?
You see, I said to myself the other day, you do the walking, and I used to stop and do the exercises up and back, but I don't stop to do it. You know why? I come and I'm tired already. But it would be good. The exercises are good, just sitting up and down. So
Yeah.
I figure I do the walking,
Right.
That's
whichever.
great.
But the
Try to do your
exercises are good.
exercises.
I do. I stretch the arms. It's good. Up, down, side. Yeah. I still remember, Aric.
Good.
I'm going to do it this week.
Good.
Tomorrow I think is going to be a rainy day too. Today is
Well,
Saturday.
you could exercise in here. Put on some music.
I can do without music. I'm not so. I'm not. Whatever. I can put music on.
Up, down.
Up, down, side, down, down.
Right,
lip-
Grandma. Up, down, down, down.
Yeah, forward, side, forward, down.
That's good.
Forward, up, forward, down. This. I can still do it. All right.
All right. Next question, please. And the survey says.
Okay, what was a critical moment in your life?
Critical.
Yeah.
The loss of my sons. I told you that before. You see, you can tolerate what you don't like, When I lost my husband, it was very bad. But I knew I had a job to do. I was left with 4 children, and I wasn't going to give them a stepfather. Not that anybody would grab me with 4 kids who wanted me. But I didn't want them to begin with.
But you went to the doctor last year.
Yeah,
Who
the
was-
Altacacas.
The doctor
Oh, the
from Florida.
Altacaca.
The Altacacas
Yeah.
that are chasing you around.
The AK chasing me around the pool. Who needs them? I need the AKs. I took care of myself before, so I take care of myself now. I need an Altacaca. I'll have to put on his shoes and lace his laces. I don't want to have to undress him and dress him. Be another job. I don't need it. An Altacaca. Live while you're young, and may God help all of you to have your first love. Your first person that you marry, you should have long life together. That's what I wish you. And you should have nice families and love each other, because there's no greater love than a sincere family. Cheating is ridiculous. If you can't live with a person, I said that years ago, that if I felt I couldn't live, I wouldn't cheat. I'd say goodbye, that's it. You don't cheat, you just have respect for yourself. So your husband, your children will have respect for you. Treat as you want to be treated. And now, I don't want an AK and Altacaca, I need them.
So why don't you get like a nice 25-year-old guy?
What do I need them?
But he could tie your shoes and dress you.
I want to tell you something. I pray to God one thing, which I only hope, like I said before, that I don't lose vision of not recognizing people. I think that's the worst stroke any mother can have, is not recognizing her children. That to me, I think, is the worst. I think that would be the worst. And as soon as I see that I can't take care of myself, I won't go into I don't have to go, Lynn tried to point that out to me before. These,
Nursing homes?
not the nursing, the other.
The retirement.
Retirement.
Communities.
I don't need that yet. What I have to listen to somebody else's, I don't want to tell them my heartaches because they had their own. And I don't want to go there. I love my home. But as soon as I see that I can't function, then I'll give in.
Right.
Then I'll go. But the meantime, I'm functioning.
Good.
So I want to have my own home. My own bed to sleep on, my own kitchen. The woman comes, she comes, all right, it's not I don't take the polish every day, but I dust. But when polish, so that she can do, but she vacuums for me. In fact, she vacuumed, she was here the other day because I told you she has this man,
Yeah.
that a very fine man. I feel badly for him because he's, not that he's wicked, but
He gets lost.
he gets lost. And when we go together, where we have lunch, I tell her, please, go with him. The only time, you see, when it's wet outside, I don't want to walk on wet ground. Then I hold him, but I say take care of him because I can feel for him. He doesn't want to be that way.
Right.
He can't help it. It's his misdemeanor, whatever. So she'll come in here, and it so happens, it's good that she has us on the same floor,
Yeah.
So whatever it'll be, like she says, she'll come Monday. I'm going to tell her we have to get some medication. The medication you get also, years ago, the federal government, through my husband, I didn't pay for medicines. Today I pay, not as much. Like something that would cost $100, I pay $18, which is quite a difference too. So I had to leave it there. So she's coming Monday, but I'm going to tell her not to come Tuesday. She's also a person that's got a family. Let her be home with her family. It's a holiday for her too. I'm going to go to my sister for the evening. Judy's going to come to pick me up to take me there.
Good.
So I'll manage that way. I accept what I can't do. I know I get very distressed. I miss everybody, but I can't help it. This was my destiny, and I have to live with it, that's all.
Ready for another question, really?
Yeah, whenever you're ready, I'm ready.
What was it like moving from the country to...
To the city?
Yeah.
It was necessity that made us do that. We were in the city to begin with, but we moved because of my mother's ill health to the country. So
No, I'm saying, when you moved with your husband, you came to Brooklyn, didn't you? Did you move to... Did you come from Connecticut? I'm saying when you moved off the farm.
my husband was everything in New York. He was an American man. He was downtown. He lived on the east side, and I lived in Brooklyn. So he used to come to me. Is that the question you were asking me? Or
Yeah, but you had to move off the farm sometime. I mean, if you grew up on the farm, when did you finally...
Well, we
when did you get
finally...
to the city?
When did we get to the city? I think we all moved to the city at that time.
For what? I mean, for factory work? Did he work?
Well, we grew up. I mean, all the children grew up, and there was nothing to do out there. I mean, you didn't have anything. We all wanted to be involved in something. We all were alive. So we came here. Like I said, my father used to work in the factory here.
Oh, in Brooklyn?
And I don't remember if it was New York or Brooklyn, but he worked. I went to work for Wimmelbacher and Rice. I still remember a glove concern. And, you know, when I went back, that's interesting too.
What was the name of the company?
Wimmelbacher and Rice.
High school.
Wimelbacher.
Wait, say it again?
Wim, like in Marty.
Okay.
Elbacher. And Rice, capital RICE.
Okay.
Now, when I worked for them, now who did...
Did you live in Brooklyn then? I mean, when you worked for them, were you living in Brooklyn already?
We were living in New York. Just what part? Most likely lived in Brooklyn. But what I mean to bring out, when I reached the age of 70, I didn't retire at 65. I retired at 70. I said, that's it. Now I got to work for somebody, to give somebody something. I don't want the money. I want to help. So the man said to me, that saw me going around, he said, Sally, one thing I want to tell you. Now you're working, you're helping others. But if you should ever decide that you want a job, remember, the job is open for you. See, I can never forget that either. That I could have worked for anyone. They knew I was truthful and honest. What I couldn't do, I said. I didn't like typewriters. I didn't like to talk to a machine.
So, who moved off the farm? Was it everybody?
Everybody moved
You
off
sold
the farm. The farm was sold. Everybody moved to the city.
Do you remember what year the farm was sold?
No.
You know how
Were
old
you?
you were?
Do you remember how old you were? 20s?
No, I think I was younger than that.
You were younger than that?
We moved off the farm when I was young yet.
Young as in...
Well, we moved
Did you go
into
to high
the
school?
town.
Did you go to
I
high
went
school?
to high school. I went to Bacon Academy. 4 years of high school, and
In
that was in Connecticut, yes.
It has to be after you're 18.
All right, so you can figure out, get an idea. I went to Bacon Academy. I had 4 years in Bacon Academy, yes.
Did you like the city when you moved? Or?
Yes, I preferred it. You're with people. And now I have to adjust to where I have to live. This isn't my type of living where I go, the Yaguda. I shouldn't really talk against them. It's the Jewish people, their ways of thinking. I mean, I can't travel around by myself. Those days are over because I have the glaucoma, I have the macula, I cannot do that. I function in the morning. But I have to adjust to life. Life is adjustment. Life, you can only get out of life what you give to it. If you want to be sad, be sad. If you want to make it good, be good, so you'll be good too, that's all. What, am I going to cry on anybody's shoulder? What are they going to do for me?
Okay, when you say you met your husband, so you met him in New York?
In New York, yes. Definitely. He lived on the east side and I lived in Brooklyn at that time.
So you had to be at least 18 or 19, right?
Yeah, yes.
He lived on the east side?
Yes, yes.
So the east side was good then, I guess.
Yeah, it was all right, yes. Yeah, Delancey Street, it was very busy, the bridge there. They still have they have a Manhattan Bridge and they have a Williamsburg Bridge.
So you'd say this was in the 30s about?
Yeah, you can figure it out any which way. I was married, I think, 36.
How old were you when you got married?
I was young,
Like
21, I think.
33. If you were 20, you'd be 33. I mean, it'd be 1933.
Yeah, but whatever. They're not going to check on the date.
You lived on the east side and you lived,
I lived, all I remember, I lived 1 year, not 1 year even, with my mother-in-law. And her way of keeping a home was different than my way. But it was her home. I had to respect it. And I thank God when I got into my own home. That's all I can tell you about it. I don't want to criticize it. It was her way of living.
okay. So where did, Uncle Phil, Uncle Si, Uncle Sam?
They always were in New York.
They were always in New York?
Yeah, they're
You
in
were
New
on
York.
the farm?
On the farm when we were young.
All right, and then
And then everybody came to New York.
but did they move out on their own when they came here to New York, or did you all live as a family?
We moved as a family. I mean, they had to do
together.
something else. We always lived together, yes,
Until you got married.
until I got married, yeah.
And they got married.
They got married.
Close your eyes, close your eyes.
Listen, I'm ready to
Exactly. Okay.
What is it?
Not bad? Alright, that's fine.
That's good.
You want this one
Yeah,
or
it's-
this way? Or should I come out?
Oh, it's just look.
I want to know. Are there any more? Let's see if there's any more. Otherwise, it's fine.
But I really want to move too.
I don't want the food.
So you sold the farm?
Yes, the farm was sold, yes.
Just throw it down on the floor. Just one from the floor.
No,
okay.
you got your
Sorry.
own.
But it's not fake for me.
Yes, it is.
My destiny is the other one on the floor.
That's not.
Yeah.
You know, the value of property at that time was much less than now. But we all have to understand it. Today it's a different world.
Exactly, look at it. Chinese food.
Okay, so,
How did they take it up? I got cut off from that.
and where were you during World War II? Do you remember anything about that?
1918. I was only 5 years old.
No,
That was World War I.
That
World
was
War II.
It's four.
Oh, that was the Vietnam War.
No, that was before that. In the
Before the-
41, I think, right?
41.
No, 39, well, Hitler
13.
marched into,
See,
Yeah,
I
the thing with
can't.
Hitler.
See, I can't.
Smell it.
39. I was 26 at that time. Was when I was first married. So, see, I can't recall any of that. For the minute, I can't. Maybe I could. Like I always say, nobody should be. They went through enough, and people that had to live with Hitler.
So with the Holocaust, like, did you know about it, like, while it was
Yes,
happening?
yes. When
Yeah,
Did
it was
we
on the
family?
news.
Did we know
yes,
anyone?
my mother lost a whole family. My father lost. He had 3 brothers there. Yes, they lost their family there. They were wiped out. It
The
was very
Holocaust?
sad. Yes, one cousin came here, Velvel. That's it. With that, I remember. Velvel came, Belleville came here, and I tried to do the best I could for him while I could.
How old?
My husband,
Who was
you see,
Belleville?
Belleville was the only person that survived. They used to run into lots too. I had compassion for him. And when he'd come here on a Friday night, between each course, he
Say-
davened.
You say he made it from Europe to America.
Yeah, he made it. He was the only person. And my husband couldn't bear him davening between each one. So he gave me an ultimatum. Either him or me. That's it. So what was I going to do, divorce my husband? So what did I do?
So who was Belleville?
Belleville, what did I do? I got him an apartment, and I used to, when my husband was working, it was none of his business. I wasn't cheating on him. I went and got shopping, and I put food in his refrigerator. We didn't have refrigerators. We had icebox. We had icebox. So I used to get the food for him, and my husband wasn't mistreated in any way, but it was not. That wasn't his business. That was my concern. And I had a right to defend him. He was the only member that was left. You see, and then another thing.
How is he our relative?
Yeah, is he related to you?
He was related through my father's side. And you know, when they were told he has to make a will or something, some form, so he wanted everything to go to me. You know what I said? You see, now it all comes back. Because a lot is happening now that I can see the difference. I said, no, I divide it with my sister. It's given to me, but I have a sister. He went through so much that 11 o'clock at night, Joel, now how is Joel? How is he getting involved here? Joel went to school at the time, and he used to come to see me. So I told him that there's a big problem. So he took me there to see him because he was yelling, police, police, you know. That's when I couldn't hold on to him anymore. That's when I had to let them take him into wherever they had. I didn't want to let go of him. I wanted to.
He was older than you?
Who?
Belleville.
Yeah, he had to be.
So
But
this was
you-
like your father's cousin?
A relative. I can't remember the exact, but I remember Joel came from school at the time, and I said I have to get there because there's a problem. And we came there, and he had his feet out, and he's yelling, police, police. Well, once he got that way, I couldn't control him anymore. When I had control, I used to bring the food there that my husband didn't know. But then when he went out of control, I had to let go. So you go through a lot in life. You don't realize until you reminisce like this. May he rest in peace. My husband, too. He was a good guy, but he was a Hungarian. And Hungarians, boy, they have a temper if you don't know how to treat them.
Is that where our tempers came from? Next question, please.
Okay. So, when your husband died, who worked? You worked?
Oh, definitely. I told you. I say, where did I get the strength? I worked. That remained with me. I think, let me not exaggerate, 10 years around the clock, 7 days, because I didn't want anybody to take, no one was going to grab me. I wasn't such a beauty with 4 children. So I worked.
Where
I
did you work?
worked around the clock, boy, but how? I got the strength. Somehow God gave me strength.
Where did you work? The same.
You want me to remember that too? What did I do? I didn't sell my body, believe me. I didn't have
You
to
worked for
stand.
Leslie Fay?
I didn't. I worked for Leslie Fay, and Leslie Fay is part of who told me. I kept in touch with them for a long time. Now they merged. Leslie Palmer, Leslie Fay, because they're big sizes, little sizes. They were the one that said to me, Sally, anytime you're ready to So you want to work, the job is open for you.
What was
I
that
left a
big
good,
bag? Shoes?
yeah. And the big Mr.
That was
Pomerantz,
you?
Mr. Pomerantz was the big boss. Everybody knew him. He started out without a pair of shoes on his feet and built a big business, Mr. Pomerantz. And when I couldn't work because I had cataracts that had to be removed, I couldn't see. So he yelled one thing, get me a girl like Sally. No, go manufacture a girl like Sally for him. You know? Those were the days.
So,
It comes back.
who else worked? Were you the only one who worked after your husband died? I mean,
Who-
my father, did he work also?
Everybody had to work. Uncle Marty I told you he educated. Your father was Eugene was a fun person. He loved fun. Where he stood, there was laughter. He didn't believe in hard work. He believed in let's have fun. And Marty was the one, in those years, you know, they used to save newspapers. Used to go up and down the steps to collect newspapers.
So my father collected newspapers?
Yes, they used to.
Recycling? Was it for recycling? Or was it...
To recycle.
Yeah.
So they used to go up and down the steps to collect newspapers.
What was his other occupation?
Right on his name, too.
Do you remember?
His other occupation, now let me... Well, I think you people should remember that better than me, no?
I wonder why. These chips look really good.
Marty was a doctor.
I know that.
Yeah, and Eugene
My fatal.
was a playboy. He liked to have fun. He loved fun. Give him fun. That's where he was. He loved a lot of fun.
What'd you say about my... Didn't my father once bring you a plate or something from a movie?
Yeah, he brought me, made his first 10 cents or whatever, he brought me a dish that I cherish so much. Where is that dish? I bet you it's in the closet somewhere. It could be, yeah. You think I'm kidding? It must be in the closet somewhere. I can't creep up there anymore.
So he bought you a plate with the first 10 cents?
With the first 10 cents he made, he came home and he said, here, Mom, that's for you. Yeah. He was very, very ambitious. But you see, when the time came, and then he became a doctor on his own, and then when the time came, they took him.
Brian.
So who, you can't have a taina means in Jewish, you can't have remorse to anybody. This was my destiny, and his destiny.
How old was my father when he started working?
When he used to collect the newspapers.
But how old, when he brought you the plate, how old was he? Was he 9, 7, 9?
I can remember exactly. He was a little boy. He used to go. He was very ambitious. He was a very ambitious person. Age was no question with him.
So after your husband died, the whole family worked, you said?
Everybody had to work.
Even Aunt Lynn?
Oh, yes. Well, Aunt Lynn, when she went to move to California, when Uncle Steve was 14, so they took him, his family took him to visit. And he said someday he'd like to go there. So when Aunt Lynn, when she was with me, so I had that quote for her. I says, Lynn, while you're my daughter, you belong to me. When you get married, you're part of your husband's family. And when she left to go to California with him, people reprimanded her. How could she leave her mother? I says, what do you mean? She didn't leave me. I was the one, we both cried. Yeah. But she went. And the night before, the three of us slept in one bed. Steve and she and I. Dad, I remember one bed, the three of us. And I says, now you belong to your husband. Now you go with him. I'm sure she remembers it. And thank God, you should all be in the condition to be able to do like they're doing. Look, she got Ryan and Allie and Matt. She's got grown children of her own. Ryan wants to be in the medical field. God should help him. Look, who am I to comment? Any other questions? I can go on talking, you know, at this time.
Yeah, I know.
Everything comes to me.
Grandma, are you hungry?
No.
No?
You want something before we go out to eat?
You guys want to
I'll
go?
take
I don't
you.
wanna- If you guys want to go, I'll finish.
No, just finish.
I mean,
Is it long? Because we're kind of starving. We haven't eaten yet today.
Are you?
So go take
give me like-
something in the
Give me
Frigidaire.
like 2 more questions, then we'll get out of
Okay.
here, and then I'll finish up when I come back.
Why, you got a lot more to go yet?
7 hours.
I don't care, but you have a lot more to go?
No, I'm working around the questions, basically. I'm listening to your side, and I'm trying to I'm working it.
Yeah, because now I have a trend of thought too. You know, that's another thing. Once I break that trend of thought, I can't, I'm being
You're
truthful.
gonna have to hold it then. You're gonna have to hold it through lunch.
No, I'm saying the truth. Later, I don't know. You can go to the refrigerator and get whatever you feel you want now. There's enough to have before we go out to eat. You're better off you finish that.
Day couple.
1 minute, I'm just going to use the bathroom.
Okay.
Okay. Your ideals and objectives, were they
I
attainable?
picture that.
My ideals. At my age, what can my ideals? I pray to God that my children, my grandchildren, everybody be well, and that they're blessed with good health and happiness. That's my ideal.
And what about religion?
Religion, I'm a Jew,
Okay.
but I love everybody. That's all I can say to you. I told you, I live in an area that some of them, they curse and when they want to curse somebody else, I don't want to be there. I don't like cursing.
Why?
That's what your mom would say. Something. Why? She's always busting my chops, you know.
Toasted champagne.
Toast.
Did you go to his manicure or you did it yourself?
No, I never do it.
I'll pay for my manicure once a week. I like the nails looking
He's my
nice.
sugar daddy.
And what's your interest in politics?
In politics, all I like about politics is to listen, because I don't approve of a lot, but I'm not a politician.
What do you like to listen to? The elections?
I listen to everything. I told you, I can't see, so I put the radio on in the Maury Povich. I hear, and Sally, and on the radio, whoever comes on there. I listen for versions of other people. I have no comment to make.
You better stop by one nice day.
Oh no, I gotta combine them. I don't know.
Okay, hobbies and activities.
Hobbies and activities. That's funny. I don't go dancing,
Chasing out the carcass, right?
and I don't chase the alpacas. And my hobby, I told you, is to listen to the radio and to listen to the television and to thank God of what family I have that I still have, that I have a sister and a brother, and I listen to their problems. I don't try to solve it for them.
I've changed my ways.
Really? I know this. There's no skin showing.
In your early years, what were your hobbies like?
My early years.
Yeah.
I told you, we were so involved with housework, we didn't have hobbies. We didn't have hobbies. At my age, do they expect you that your grandma's going to have hobbies at early years?
What about like
We knew
knitting
work.
and stuff?
What?
Knitting? Didn't you do?
Oh yeah, knitting, yeah, that crocheting and knitting, that now I'll give you a funny one that he reminded me. I crocheted, I'm not perfect. People can crochet without instructions. I could take instructions. So I made a sleeve for my husband, and I made the whole thing, and I was so proud that I finished the sweater. I got through, I went to show it to him, and proudly said, "How do you like this work?" Yes. I told you, I found the strength. At night till 3 o'clock, my daughter, see, that I remember, it's a funny one. This is a funny one. I remember once I'm busy in the kitchen, I had to work in the daytime, so at night, I didn't know whether to cook or to bake. So she said to me, "Will you listen to my Spanish?" So I started to laugh. So she says, "What's so funny?" I says, "I have to do one of two things, either laugh or cry. I might as well laugh." Yeah, that's the truth.
Yes, ma'am.
Which one? It's already sweater.
You worked in an office?
This is
So
pretty
that's
rough.
housework.
It's spraying some now.
Why do you have to have a spring summer?
She wanted to. I wanted to be nice out.
When I was 14, I used to help in the hotel around the kitchen. Because those years you didn't have these. And my brother Phil, may he rest in peace, he wanted to take me out for some fun. So he'd come to dry the dishes. We had to do our own silverware, our own dishes. He came to help me so he could take me away a little. That was our hobby. That's all we had.
Do you remember the Great Depression at all?
The Depression.
Yeah, do you remember the Great Depression?
3 years.
I was first married, I think, 26. Maybe it didn't hit that much at that time.
Was it 29, I think?
The crash landed in 29, but you were 26, probably.
Oh, yeah, but at 26, I was 13.
Yeah, so you were younger.
I was young.
You were on the farm.
I was away, but I heard that people were jumping from roofs because they had, yeah, well, that's what I remember they said, that people were jumping from the roofs because they had invested money. You know, I didn't, I was young.
Your father didn't invest money?
My father I can't relate to. My father, I told you, was a good individual that took care of his family.
Don't you think a face like this should be...
Did you get along with him?
Definitely.
You didn't fight it at all?
No, not my father. We knew I don't know what it was, but we would, it's not wrong. You find kids. I listen to psychiatrists now on the phone and psychologists, and Elisa can tell you too, because she has to interview kids that fight with their parents. They're not the worst kids. That's part of growing up
Yeah. So,
until they come to themselves.
so he acted like a lot out of love?
Yeah,
Caring, so-
we was caring. Everything was caring. We didn't know different.
Well, you're lucky.
Yeah,
So do you consider yourself lucky having
right. I mean, I tell you the truth. If I were to give my opinion, I blame the parents a lot too. They don't have to take all the baloney they take, because either you abide when a child is in their home, they got to abide to a certain extent. Once they reach an age where they go into their own home, then the parent has to mind their own business. Your own home, you run your home. While you're under my roof, you abide by some of the rules of the house.
That's good too. Throw the party. No purpose.
And what about your husband? The personality traits? What
He was very good. He had, like I said, I had to, he was of Hungarian descent, and they're they're hot-headed people. But he wasn't bad to me. He was a good person. But I knew how to get along with him. I used to watch him like the apple of my eye.
Did he
When
get
the
along?
kids had to sleep, when I put the babies to sleep, I said, shh, everybody had to be quiet when Daddy was resting. He had to have his rest. Look, he had that was he. He needed that rest. And I used to tell the children they have to respect. Daddy has to sleep, you
Was
gotta
he a
be
light
quiet.
sleeper?
He was a good sleeper, but he needed, look, not everybody can get along on the same amount of sleep. I say to myself, how did I do it? I did it. I had to do
He
it. I
slept a
did.
lot?
Me?
No, him.
He could sleep more.
Right.
Yeah, he was a person that could sleep more,
Like me,
yes.
I sleep a lot.
He could sleep more. But when you have responsibilities,
So he was he like
What was his
a
occupation? The railroad?
postal worker?
postal worker, yes, yeah.
So, was he like more like Uncle Eugene? Was he fun
Oh,
loving?
yeah, oh yes.
He liked children.
Oh
a
yeah,
lot?
he was full of fun. That's for sure. He was a very fun-loving person.
Postal worker?
Yeah, and he
Did he
loved,
deliver mail or?
yes, and he was on the outside. And he loved children, he loved people. Yeah, that he was. A fun-loving person.
So he was.
He was a good person, but not everybody has the same personality. They thought he should work harder, look for more work. You
Who
can't.
thought?
You
Who told him
other
that?
people comments
Who's other
that
people?
I wouldn't comment.
No. You mean Aunt Faye?
I don't comment. Anyhow, other
But we
people
need to
think,
know. This is
but you,
family
I don't
record.
know. I don't remember. Period. You cannot push a person to do what they cannot do.
Well, when was he born? What month?
He was older than I, 5 years,
No,
I
but
think.
when was his birthday?
In June. He was a June person.
June what?
20th, was it?
June 20. Was
You
that
think you have
cancer?
a sign?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's
What year?
Yeah.
cancer.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about cancer.
Do you remember
It's
what
far away
year?
from my sign.
June
What
20th?
year?
Sagittarius.
5 years older than me, so what would that be?
We're not known for patience and rootedness.
So back 1908, no?
Wow.
1908.
And his family's from Hungary?
Well, I have
Hungary,
to do
yes.
it with toys, so you know.
Hungarian.
That's true. See,
Yes,
you were-
And they were
definitely.
religious? They were,
The Hungarians are very hot-headed people, that I can tell
so
you.
did they wear yarmulkes? Did he wear yarmulkes?
Yeah, see, I don't remember all these. What?
Did he wear yarmulkes?
No, he used to respect and go into the
Sure.
shul. Yeah, he respected his father. He had he knew the word respect. That he
What
knew.
about his family? Did they wear yarmulkes? Were they religious?
His family? That I don't recall him doing.
But they were
We
religious?
were American. Don't you see, like I told you, when my mother and father were alive, I kept a kosher home because I'd want them to come in.
But they kept kosher home.
They kept kosher. They were out of Russia, out of wherever. They were kosher people.
Russia and Hungary.
Yeah. So they were, but I'm a Jewish person, but I don't do that anymore.
So did he blow his temporal?
Like you don't
Grandpa?
want it in the thing.
I don't think so. I don't remember him getting. He was very good to me. I can't say that he
I'm not saying
wasn't.
anything bad. I'm just curious.
Yeah, well, I can't remember, to be truthful. I can't remember. to be truthful. For the minute, I can't.
Trust me, look at any band.
Okay. How do you feel about growing older?
I have no idea.
How do I feel? I'm blessed. I told you how I feel. I feel that I'm blessed to get older, and I'm blessed to have grandchildren the way I have. That's all I can answer. I miss those that are gone, but I have to accept it. Acceptance is what life is all about. We can't write our own page at my age.
Yeah, what do you want?
My age, we have to have
Say what
acceptance.
you want and then say realistic.
So what are you accepting?
The fact that I'm older, and the fact that I walk in the street and I see people walk much faster than me. So they can do it. I can't. I walk slower. I don't bother anybody. I don't tell anybody what to do. And I resent anybody trying to teach me because they don't know what I can do and what I can't do. That's all I can say.
Ready for lunch?
One more question.
Will you have everything?
Maybe I'll just ask you a few more things later that I come up with while we eat.
Sure it is.
I would never do it.
Well, exactly. I'm just saying. Like,
I think you'll have the biggest report. Who wants? Oh, I know. Lynn, Ryan needed a report. So they had somebody on the street there.
Wait.
Ryder, he was very, so he told, the housekeeper told Ryan to come at a certain time. Ryan came, she didn't even let him in. Well, Aric, you may remember that time. You were riding with Aunt Lynn,
perfectly fine. With
and she jumped out of the car, and she ran after him. She said,
I've heard.
weren't you there at the time? Because
yeah,
you're the
sportscaster.
a sportscaster he was,
Yeah.
whatever. And she jumped out of the car. Aric was there with us.
Yeah.
And-
Oh, you know what was it? I think we were jogging. And
You were jogging, and she went right after him. She says, "You could do it to me, but you can't do it to my child." Isn't that what she told him?
I think so.
Yeah.
Ryan was supposed to interview a sportscaster who's famous.
Yeah, and he was supposed to give Ryan information.
Well, yeah, Ryan needed it for his report, and he showed up at the house, and he wasn't there, and they wouldn't let him in or something.
They told him to come that day, and he wasn't there.
Uncle Steve went over to the house too, I think, but he wasn't home.
No, they went. He gave them a day. The housekeeper answers the door. Gave him a time to come. He came. They wasn't there. So Aunt Lynn was jogging wherever. She went after him. She said, "Listen, you can do to me, but don't you ever do that to my child again." Oh, Aunt Lynn gave it to him.
Have the wars and the depression, have they had any effect on your life? I mean, did they,
No,
money-wise? Or?
no. I always got along with what I had. I didn't rob and I didn't steal, and I wasn't a prostitute on the corner. And what I made earnestly, worked hard for it, and that's it. And that's how I live. That's my life.
That's nice.
When people whisper, you can hear it more clear than when they talk. You know, 'cause when people talk, you don't really try to pay attention. When
Yeah.
people whispering, you know.
Yeah, that's
it's
what
like-
you're
Something
what
juicy.
you're saying. But it's a lot of it.
Oh, if Lynn has an internet, she could have watched this, huh?
Well, that's true. We could put this out on the internet.
That's
Have
right.
like have a website.
And Lynn could have watched this.
There you go.
See, I don't understand any of that. She told me when I come, she'll have Steve. I don't know that I'll digest it. I'm not that smart now. So she says she'll explain to me what it's all about. If I'll know, I'll know, and if not, so I'll
It's
live
just like-
without
It's
it.
like talking to people over the computers, pretty much. It's just,
Yeah.
You just gotta type everything on.
So we could have let her listen. You know, your teacher's going to get such a belly full. He's going to say, "Where'd you get such a grandmother?"
Speaking of belly full, my belly is not
Okay.
full.
Let's go.
Yeah, I What is that picture, Don?
What?
What picture is that?
It's my grandfather, your husband. The one from over there, I just moved it. I'll put it back in a
Oh,
sec.
it's all right. No, I just didn't know what...
Grandpa's
dear.
name was Emmanuel?
Yes,
Emmanuel.
Emmanuel. In Jewish, it's Mendel.
Emmanuel's
Yeah. It's,
E-M-A-N.
yeah, Emanuel. And they used to say Manny. Manny is the short for it, you know. Like people that didn't say always Emmanuel, they said Manny. So that was a short.
That's them.
That's my mother and father to the left.
To the left here.
Yeah.
That's Bessie and
Oh yeah, Bessie and Morris.
Bessie and Mars.
Yeah.
So,
That was your father and mother,
Yeah.
Bessie and Mars.
And see on the bottom of who are the weddings of who?
everybody's here.
Yeah.
Make it.
You have
What?
enough light there?
Yeah, the light is the reflection. I'm trying to like.
And then when you see up there, there's a small picture, but it's a bar mitzvahs. You would recognize better on the right side, you see?
Uh-huh.
See the 3 different bar mitzvahs. Now who are they? I can't tell.
I don't know, whose bar mitzvahs were they? Wasn't one Sharon?
And the big frame, is that my children?
No, I just want to ask you one.
Yes, farm life is always difficult work because today everything is, how do you say, the new era, everything is machinery. In those days, when they had, here, I'll say it to you, then you can revert it. For instance, if they wanted to plant something, so they had to go make a line in the ground with a hand thing. Go make the line, then plant it. Today, it's different. Machinery does everything like that.
They didn't have machinery back then?
They didn't have, very little machinery, very.
Washes
Oh, washes, sure. Sure, but you stood back and walked with him. Today, they don't have that. Today, everything is done with machinery alone. You know what I'm trying to say? See, trees that are there, they're there. It grows. Even I used to go to Lynn. She had a peach tree in her backyard. I used to take that big stick and reach for it to get it down. Now I feel I shouldn't take a chance. I don't. The fruit is there. Some give fruit every year, some don't have every year. But from trees, it's a natural fruit. But when it comes to vegetables, that must be planted. That you have to make, because the Russian people, the European person, thought potato has a lot of vitamins. That was their belief.
Yeah, well,
Potato has a lot of value. So that's the first thing they plant.